Well, I'm pretty bummed out, but I'm kind of happy at the same time. Now, what is going on with my video camera? Everything seems fine today, but you know, the first 3 videos I made out here during the day, the sun was up and my video camera didn't show up, and I'm going to have to throw those 3 videos away where I show all kinds of stuff that they've already covered up. And before they installed the concrete on the stem walls and stuff, I showed all the form boards and stuff. You can't even see it. And I think there's something wrong with this particular video camera. When it's dark outside, it's like 7:45 at night, and but there's still plenty of light here. My video camera works fine, but during the day outside, it won't show up. So I think there's something going on with the video camera, and the video camera is about at least 7 years old, and it's probably time to get a new one anyways. Other than that, my videos are coming out fine, HD, high quality videos, but you know, I'm gonna have to unfortunately I'm gonna have to throw away the other 3 videos. There's one video before this I think I'm still gonna play for you, and if you notice, there's a couple places on it where you can't really see very well. That's because there's something going on with the video camera. And if I take the video camera in to get it fixed or something like that, it probably cost me $200 or $300, and a brand new video camera is probably going to be $300-400. So why not get a brand new one? That's what I'm going to end up doing in the next few days. But until then, I'm going to come out here at just before dark, and the sun said it's supposed to go down about 8:45 tonight. It's 7:45 now, so I'm good. I may be doing it dark, and besides that, I don't want to come out here when workers are here. Okay, so I don't know what you've seen before. I mean, you have seen this before. Okay, not as good the last video as this one because the sun is not out. Okay, but this is what they've got so far. Look at this. They've got this framed out. These are TJI's floor joists, and they span. You see this one from here all the way down there? That's one continuous TJI. How can they do that? Well, they can do that because there's beams underneath here. You see, there's a beam right here that goes all the way through there. You see, goes all the way through over to there. And so these TJIs are only spanning from there to here, which is probably about 10 feet. And then from here to here is probably another 10 feet. From here to here is another 10 feet. From there to there is about 10 feet. So these TJIs really only spanning about 10 feet or less. See, here's another. This happens to be a stem wall, concrete stem wall here. And you see how they built the piers. That's a concrete pier, and then they bolted that bottom bracket on there, and then they've got a 6x6 post up to a 6x10 or 12 beam that goes from there over to there, and then there's another one of those right down in there and over there and so forth. And you know, these guys look like they're pretty much done with the floor, but I don't think they're going to cover it with plywood just yet. Okay, and I thought something else was quite good too. Remember the other day they had some board here, and they had a hole cut in it, and I was like, and I said, oh, they're using it as a template. Now, I don't know if they still have it here. I'm just looking here real quick. I don't know. Anyways, they used a template, and then they set it on top of here, and then it was a piece of plywood from about here to here, and then they just set it here, and then they mark this out, and then they cut those. You know what those are? Those are foundation vents. Those are going to be foundation vents all throughout here because there's a crawl space underneath this entire floor. It's not a concrete subfloor or anything like that. See? Foundation vents. Look at all these foundation vents. Who would want one this close to the front of your house? I would rather have them on the side of the end of the house and the back of the house, but for some reason they've got them on the front, and that's probably because the plans showed it there. And here's something else I kind of like too. You see where they've got the hole cut? You see they've got this block of wood here. What is that for? Look at that. See how it's cut at an angle? So when you look at the vent, you look down here and then it cuts down there. Now, do you have any thought for why they did that? And that's a really good idea, by the way. Well, before they install the plywood on this entire floor, it'll be probably 4x8 sheets of tongue and groove, 3/4 inch plywood or OSB plywood. But before they do that, they're going to have to install insulation. They'll install floor insulation in here, and I don't know, they'll probably have netting going across and up and down and around and all that kind of stuff. And that is so where the foundation vent is, you get the air flow from the foundation, from the crawl space on up through here, because the insulation will start from here that way. Do you see what I mean? There's not going to be any insulation in this little piece right there. Did you hear that boom? That was thunder. And there's going to be lightning over in here. Oh, it'll be cool tonight. It's supposed to rain here pretty soon. And so wherever there's a foundation vent, you get the ventilation of the air coming out. And I thought that was a really good idea that they did. They put it at an angle like that, and then the insulation will come from here on down. You see what I mean? And probably, my guess is, before they cover this, before they put the insulation in, I'm guessing that they're probably going to put the sewer lines in, the hot and cold water lines in too. I'm not quite sure. They might do that later. If they do it later, then they'll have to be crawling around and bending down and doing it. And that's something they could do too. And there's also some air conditioning ducts over here. Two big old huge air conditioning ducts here. Here we've got the garage. There's a 3-car garage here. Boom, boom, boom. And then there's another single car garage over there. So there's a 4-car garage, but with all single doors. The single door on that end is over. It's over width. I was talking to the guy who's building this, the contractor, and he said he made that one about 2 feet wider because, and then the roll-up door is going to be way up high so that they can get a motorhome in that one. But see these things here? This is in the garage here. All this, they're going to pour this later for the garage floor. They got these ducts here. See that? One there, one there. They'll probably put a heating and air conditioning unit right here, and both of those have big, huge holes. Let me get over here. Let's see if I can't show you that. I probably shouldn't be walking up here. Nah, you can't really see it. But anyways, there's a big, huge, round duct hole there and there. And my guess is both of those are going to be hooked up for air supplies on an air conditioning system, and they're going to run all the ductwork underneath the house. And so see, they're probably, my guess is they're going to install that ductwork probably before they install the floor, because then they'll have to put the floor registers in, and the building inspector, he's going to want to look at all that. Okay? And so that's why I don't really think they're going to be installing the floor just yet. See, here's more foundation vents. Boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Look at that. They've got this bolt right in the way of the foundation vent. But hey, see the ones on the side here, see they put some other blocks on the side, and then the air will come. The only little bit of air from the underneath the crawl space is from here to here, which is only 3 inches of airspace going up through here and here. But on this one they've got it at the angle. That's because everything's going that way. These are going the opposite direction, see? And do you know that the house where I live, they have not one foundation vent? And I looked on the plans, and sure enough on the plans, look at this little guy. Here he goes, trucking along. The plans show foundation vents that are supposed to go all through the back of the house and the side of the house underneath, and there's none. The builder forgot to put them in, and the inspector, when he looked at it, shame on Mr. Inspector. Mr. Inspector missed it too. Okay, but this is how they're doing it. And remember before, I don't know how well the picture came out, but they installed all this dirt way up high. See that's where the existing lot used to go, and then it kind of tapered up this way. Well, they put all this dirt in here, raised it up, and that's why they had to raise this concrete up higher, the stem wall concrete, just to there, and then they dropped it down because apparently they didn't want the wood to be too close to the dirt, because they'll probably pour concrete patio there or something, and they just decided to do that. Had they have had the wood, they could have had that down lower, and then they could have put flashing all the way along there, galvanized flashing, before they poured their concrete patio. They could have done it that way, but hey, on the plans it showed that this was being raised up. So see, when they install their plywood, here, this plywood is going to come right to this edge, and so where these foundation bolts are, they're going to have to notch every single one of those underneath so that the plywood lays flat to go all the way down to here. And in any case, that's just how they decided to do it. So see, the first 3 videos that I did, I showed one whole video before they poured the stem wall, the concrete stem walls. They had just the bottom section of concrete poured, and my first video was here with them just doing that. See this lower bit? They poured this all in 2 pieces. They poured just from here down into the footing, and then the stem wall. After they had this concrete done, they poured the stem wall. I call this concrete here the stem wall, okay, from here up to the mud seal. And they had that all formed, and that's when I started my first video. But I'm telling you, it just didn't show up because, like I said, there was something wrong with the camera. But it was very odd how they poured it, and I've seen it done one other time where they did the stem walls and they formed it, and they actually had the mud seal plate, and look how thick that plate is. It's 2 inches instead of 1.5 inches. The mud seal plate was installed right inside the stem wall framing, the forms, before they poured the concrete. So the piece of mud seal was indented inside the form board, so the foundation bolts were in there and all that. And see, this wall, the stem wall, it's not 5.5 inches. It's probably 8 inches. See, from here over to there. And then because this was in the way, they poured the concrete, and here was the other form board. They poured the concrete in through that little cavity, and then they had to kind of tap on the form boards to make sure that they got them all nice and even and stuff. And I don't know if that's a code thing anymore or not. I mean, it makes the wall a little bit thicker, 8 inches instead of 5.5. and you know, years ago they didn't do that. They would just build it 5.5 inches wide or whatever for 2x6 wall or 2x4 wall, whatever it was going to be. These are probably going to be 2x6 walls on here. But they used to only build it like 5.5 inches, and then you would pour the concrete down in there, and then you would put the foundation bolts into the concrete, and then you would have the mud seal. You'd install that later, drill holes in it and put that down, bolt it down. But nowadays they put it inside the form boards. Isn't that cool? I thought that was kind of slick how they did that. And you know, you might be thinking, oh, what are all of these bolts here for? And you know, there's a reason for those, and they had to look on the plans, and they had to build it as per the plans. And then when they used the joist hangers, there's some joist hangers across there. I'm not going to walk out there. Okay, see those joist hangers across there, because those two boards right there are going across, and an opening. See, there's an opening down in there. See that opening? That's so somebody can crawl through here, crawl space through all of these cavities. And they did that for a reason. Not quite sure what the reason was. See, they have concrete stem wall from there going that direction, but in some other areas they have little piers. See that pier down there? They have piers with 6x6 posts and 6x12 beams going across. But then in other areas they have concrete. See right there where there's concrete? Why didn't they do that the same way as they did that? For some reason on the plans they couldn't do it, and the engineer and the architect decided to have concrete in certain areas. So when you're building a house, every plan is different. You have to build it as per the plans, because then the building inspector, he comes by and he checks it as per the plans. That's how you have to build it. Okay, so they're building it as per the plans, and that's just how they're doing it. You see this? This is the belly band. This is just mashed up OSB plywood. You see all the layers. See all the layers of it? And that's how they do things now. And see this here, this is plywood, but then it's all these layers of plywood. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 layers for just this piece, and then 12 layers down there, and then it's notched. Let's get you a little I-beam. Oh, I'll show you the template they were using too. See, here's a little section of the I-beam. See how it's dadoed, and then that OSB plywood panel. That's less than a ½ inch, and that's what they use here. But when you put that all together, man, these things are stout. You know, these just happen to be like 7 inches tall, 8 inches tall. They have TJI floor joist, TJI truss joist I-beam. I think it's what TJI means. They have these really tall. They have them up like 2 feet wide, 2 feet tall, like for roofs, rafters, and that kind of stuff in warehouse buildings and stuff. I've seen them that big, and that's just how they do it nowadays. See, here's that template I was telling you I was looking for. They built this, they made this little template, and then they set it. They just set it up here like this to see where it went, and then they marked this out, and then they took it and then they set it up here. That way they didn't have to measure every single one. That was kind of slick, and apparently they don't need this anymore. But anyways, that's how they did that. And oh, on the I-beams, the TJIs. You see this? You see this thing here? See, there's a hole. There's a hole right there, and see, it goes all the way through. If you were to hit that with a hammer, it'll come out. And when you look at TJIs, see, there's a round hole There's one. There's one. They're all, you see, they're all along here. See, there's one there. Then there. Then there. And it just goes on and on and on. And it's okay. You can knock one of those out if you want to put an electrical wire through there, if you want to put a plumbing pipe through there, a gas line pipe. See, look, you just take your hammer, beat that out, and it doesn't affect the strength of these TJIs. You cannot just start cutting out big old huge holes for something else unless you find out from the inspector, or depending on how far you have this TJI on the wall or on a beam. Maybe you can cut a hole right here, but not out in the middle. Maybe within 2 feet of the end, 8-inch hole, whatever. But you have to find out from the building department, or you have to find out from the architect or whoever. He may say absolutely not. Don't be drilling anything through these. You don't need to drill anything. You just knock these holes out if you need to use them. Okay, and see these straps. This is a big old strap that's gonna, they'll have a post here and a post there, and then this will be on the side of it, and it will tie your wood to your footing. This goes down, and then it kind of cocks at an angle, and then there's like a foot paddle on there, and they have to put those in. See, they got them all in here. This is where this just makes the wall a little bit stronger, because you're going to have a garage door, garage door, garage door, garage door over here. And look at over here. There's no straps like that. They put these actual big old huge fat rods here, and those go down into here. And then they'll put a boot thing on here, and then there'll be bolts on there that gets bolted into like a 6x6 post. You'll see when the framing comes. I'll show you what that looks like. And see, they can't just make it up on their own. They've got to do it as per the plan. Okay, so all of that stuff gets installed prior to them pouring this concrete wall. See, here's a concrete wall here. That's how they did it. They formed it from here to there, inset the mud seal, and then when they poured this whole thing, they only had this much room to pour it in there. I would have liked to have seen how they did that. There's probably a special little chute that kind of goes down there so that they don't get it all over the place. But see, you're bound to get some mess in here, because you've only got this much room to shove that concrete down there to go from here to there. See? Yeah. All right. In any case, what do we got over here? Here's some joist hangers, and they just, all joist hangers. See, here's some more of their joist hangers and their rods and all kinds of other stuff, and they just leave it here on the job site. I don't know why they do that. They should have a box out here, like a storage bin that you can lock up. You can put all your tools in there. You can put your materials in there, your brackets in there, your extension cords in there, and all that kind of stuff. But they don't. And underneath that plastic, they probably have their compressor. Because there's no power out here yet, so they run a compressor with their extension cords and all that, because we saw there was a gas can over here. I'm not going to lift that up or anything. See, there's a gas can and stuff. See, and that's pretty good too. They've got a security camera out here. Isn't that cool? That's probably running right now, for all I know. But the contractor, he said I could come out here and I can make videos. So that's why I'm making videos, and I'm bringing it to you to show you what you've got to do in order to build a house. All right, my time is up. It's starting to rain on me. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back. Let's see where I get the light. Ah, there we go. That's a little better. I'll be back with more videos, and I hope you continue watching this, because I'm going to put a whole video series together on building this house from here on out. And hopefully you'll get to learn all kinds of different things on how to build a house, and it might help you with designing your house, or with building your house, or with coordinating your different subcontractors. Well, I'll talk about scheduling and stuff like that another time. Okay, so I'm kind of excited to be able to do this. It's fairly close to where I live, and the contractor said I can do it. So hey, I am going to invest my time for you. Did you just see that big piece of lightning that just went? I don't know if you saw that or not. We're going to hear the thunder here in a minute. Come on. See there? Oh. That's because I saw that lightning. That's how long it took to come over here. All right. I'll catch you next time.